All right, we got another one coming to you live from 210 Designs, 80 model Regal. We got 412s going in the trunk. We're gonna do this old school style. As usual, start out with some 3/4 inch MDF. Get everything pre-cut, ready to roll for assembly. Of course, 100% full glue coverage, sliding adjustable clamps. Hold everything into place as I line it. Pre-drill all my holes. Use some 1 5/8 coarse wood screws. Get that tight, secure bond. And I just repeat the process walking around the box. And here you can see those good clean cuts. That's why I like using my table saw. Just makes good clean cuts. Seams practically disappear. Go ahead and add the top piece. See, now this box is going to be an external port, so this is basically going to be like a sealed box until I cut the opening for the port. Going on this one because of the layout that the customer went with for these 412s, which is going to be a tight fit in itself. Now I'll go ahead and get ready for some picture frame bracing. Light, it's solid, it doesn't take up a lot of internal cubic space. Just using scrap pieces as templates. Flush trim them, hit it with a little small round over, and she's done. Get everything marked out, lined out where I want to put it. I think I went center off in this as best I could. Still had plenty of magnets clearance, which the subs are going to line up right where the square cutouts are, just to be safe. Clamp it into place, and I can't get clamps in the middle, so you got to get creative. Put an extra scrap piece. So I got the bow in there, got clamps pulling on both sides to get that even pressure in the middle. That's the whole purpose for that. Show you the screw placement, anywhere between 2 to 4 inches, 2 to 3.5. It's a good safe distance when you're placing your screws. Now I'll go ahead and add some bracing for those center pieces in that picture frame just to add some more rigidity. Just using some 1 1/4 inch wooden dowels. Got those placed accordingly. You see the one missing in the middle because I don't know exactly where that port's gonna hit. So I'm leaving it off till I get it cut out and ready. Then I'll add that last wooden dowel in there. Add my glue. Go ahead and seal this one on up. I can go ahead. What am I doing here? Am I doing cutouts? Oh yeah, I'm getting ready for the double baffle for the sub cutouts here. Clamped into place, double checking my cutout and my outer diameter of each sub. Get everything marked. Find my center pivot point. And I'll drill through both the flush trim baffle and the actual box just so to ensure that my hole alignment or my cutout alignments are the same. And I usually cut the flush trim once I screw it to the table or clamp it to the table just because it doesn't move, because I'm going to cut out so much material. It's going to be thin and I don't want it flimsy and breaking on me. That's why I clamp mine to the table. And you'll see all those other pieces, cutouts, router tips cut out on that table. That's from my router and stuff. Those scrap pieces are just to add rigidity so it doesn't flex on me. Put a little small rabbit edge where I'll be tucking my fabric later once I screw this to the front side of the box. Trusty old spatula and smear it in some glue. Clamped, and I think I shot it into place. I don't think I screwed it. Brad nails. That's the look I'm going for right there. Oh, look at this bad boy here. It's clean, ain't it? Customer dropped it on off because now I'm ready to cut the port out and I have to make sure that it's gonna fit. So I'm getting my port location, amp rack, how high the amp is gonna sit before I make my cut on this box. It was real critical. Started cutting on it, roughed it on out. I'll get some scrap template pieces, screw them into place, and I'll flush it on out. When I had knocked out the terminal sections as well, repeated the same process. Then I got to looking at it, at this angle right here. I was like, wait a minute, that opening is kind of small. And it was. So I had to go back and redo it again. See me pointing to it right there? I had to widen it on out for you. Get that airflow so these bad boys can breathe. And that's with a V, breathe. Now I'll go ahead and seal off the terminals. Finish out the terminal cup side of it. Put 45 on it, glued and screwed them into place. Put a little rabbit edge on it so I can tuck the fabric in it as well. A little lip on the inside there. Now I can add that last bracing I was talking about. Now it's braced front to back, top to bottom. Now we can start working with this external port. That's right, an external port. Sticking outside of the box because the way the subs are lined up, I could not bring the port on the inside. That's why I'm doing it this way. Same process. Glue, screws, and clamps. Got a couple markings in there because it's so wide. I'm gonna put me some wooden dowel bracing in here too to help with flex. Make that port solid so it don't flap. We put the front baffle on it, get it marked out. That part there will be actually open that I marked on there. That's the flange. I call it the port flange. Once I screw it and secure it into place and let it sit overnight, make sure that glue cures up. Come back the next time and roughed it out, trimmed it out. Put a little small round over on the inside. I may have jumped ahead of myself. I ain't in there yet. I'm still getting the particulars right. I added screws to secure it. That's what I did. Now here I'm getting my piece because you can see it's not flush. When I put this up against it, I'm still 3/4 short. So I'm getting my flush piece that's gonna go to the inside to bring everything back flush. It'll make sense here in a minute. I'm double checking to see how deep I can go back with this box. If I cut that 45 on it or leave it flat, and I just flipped it over and I gained about 1.5 inches by cutting that angle on it. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna knock off them back 2 corners because like I said, space is critical. Getting the subs in and out was the main reason for that because I could not get the port. I couldn't attach the port outside of the box and put the subs in because I couldn't access it. So I'm gonna have to put the box in first, put the outer subs in, and then attach the port, and then put the inner subs in, the 2 insides in. It was tricky. It was tricky, but like I said, trunk boxes, space is your enemy. Make sure everything was even. When I start to add the closure pieces on there, here I'm getting the angles. Start your drill bit. Once it bites into the wood, then you kick it to the side and finish your drill. And that'll ensure that your screws don't stick in through the box. It still bites into the wood, and here I'm showing you that. Drill pieces aren't sticking out at all. Now I got it cornered off, blocked off how I wanted it, gaining that extra 1.5 inches. Now that's that top piece on the port I was talking about that would bring it back flush. So added it. It was a solid piece. I roughed it out, flush trimmed it, and then I put the round over on that piece. I got ahead of myself. So now when I put that back in the box, it'll bring it flush on the inside. I think here I'm marking off, yes, because I'm going to wrap the port on the outside. Yep, I'm gonna wrap it, so I'm putting my little trim sections that I do on the outside edges of my box. I'm doing the same thing to the front. Won't be seen, but why not? This is where you try, this is where you experiment. So when you come across something that you will be seeing, you'll be ready for it. I'm cutting that same etching in there for my fabric to be tucked because this box will be two-toned. Oh, I don't think I was supposed to tell y'all that. But anyway, it's gonna be two-toned. So that's why I'm cutting that edge so I can a place to tuck my fabric. And here I'm doing a dry mock-up, making sure I'm fit. I think I still had the sand because it was real tight. So I was taking it out, sanding it, cutting it, shaving this down, putting it back in. So it was snug, but it wasn't too tight where it would make the wood split when I pulled it back out. A front view. Now you can see what I'm talking about when I bring it back flush. That's the look I was going for. Now I got to mark my areas to where I'm going to drill some holes and I'm going to bolt the box and the port together. So I'm just pre-drilling all that stuff outside, making sure it fits so I'm not struggling when I get on the inside. That's all I'm doing here. It'll be bolts all the way around at the sides and the bottom. The top, it was too thin, so I think I added 1 5/8" screws in it to secure it into place. The way my fabric hit, I had to put some additional cuts off in here to break up the fabric because it didn't wrap completely all the way around. That's what I'm doing here. That little mess up and showing it to you, but you won't see it. No secrets over here, people. All right. First part of the fabric. And what the customer wanted something close with the color tone to match his car. And that's what I tried to do here for him. It turned out pretty good. 2-part contact, spraying it on both surfaces. Let it sit up for about 2-3 minutes till it's dry to the touch. And when it goes on, it seals solid. Tucking it in on them. I think I dropped it about 1/4 inch. That's the groove that I cut in there, was about 1/4 inch deep. Showing you pinching the corners, getting the fabric to adhere to itself. And then I hit it with the scissors. Rubbed it on in and get a light tapping with my hammer to smooth it on out. It basically goes away. Securing some extra staples on the bottom to prevent that fabric from lifting later on. And we'll go with that second coat, that second color. Give it a little accent. Just repeated the process. Roughed everything out. And you can kind of see the two-tone color kind of matches car. It's not exact. His car is an 80s model. This fabric is 2021. There'll be some color fading in there. I've got a little piece of scrap piece for that part that dipped in there and pressed it into place to get that fabric to stretch. The screw is just so I can pull it back out. And then once it sat for a while, then I pulled it out and finished tucking it, getting that glue where it'll grab on all corners there. You can see it. Yeah. A lot of that's not going to be seen, but why not? Looks cool. Flip the box over. Got the other side together. There you go. Oh yeah, it's going to turn out nice. The sides won't even be seen. Like I said, it's so tight in there, you won't see none of it. All you see is the top and a little bit of the front. That's it, once it's installed in the car. But I like that color scheme. I was glad how close it came to, and you can see it there. That was pretty close. He was happy with that. Mask off the area, and I think I'm getting ready to wrap this now, just so I don't get glue on the inside. That's what I'm masking and newspapering things off there. Not gonna paint the inside of the port. Like I said, it won't be seen. This part wasn't necessary, but I wanted to do it. But the staples on the bottom side, it won't be seen. And trimmed and tucked it on around that lip. That groove I cut in there. Covered up all the fabric I just did so I can get this the flange part wrapped now. This was a little tricky, but walked all around, trimming and tucking. Same process, squeezing it, showing you here, cut them together and just pull it away. Make sure you got a sharp blade and cut right into that groove so your blade doesn't walk out and cut your fabric. That light tapping I was talking about on your seams. Kind of hide those, blend them in a little bit. Bottom side I left open, won't be seen. I'm gonna have a gasket around it anyway, so don't worry about that. Yeah, it turned out nice. Well, that was everything there. Now we can get ready for the install. Let's get all this stuff put off inside this rascal. We dropped the excess battery down in the spare tire fender well. Built up so it's flush, so the box will sit right across it. I'm showing you that the terminals won't hit. Drilled me 2 holes for grounds. I put double grounds on this one to the frame. A little extra polyfill up under where the battery or the amp rack's gonna sit, just to kind of help with vibration. Moved everything, the back seat, the rear deck lid. Carpet back into place. Here I couldn't get to certain spots, so I had to glue those together. Flat washer, lock washer, nut. That's what that was. There's a rear deck lid, and believe it or not, that's the factory cardboard deck board that was on there. I just peeled off the old carpet and reused it. That's what I did on that. And that metal was I got from, I think it was from Lowe's, is what that was. I had to build some brackets for the front treaters in the dash to get it to sit off in there. Lock tight, that's what the red part is on the screws, holding it in place. You gotta get creative on some of this stuff. Some of this speakers and woofers, they're not made for it, but you gotta get ways to creative and make it fit. On the amps, the customer had the Planet Audio Big Bang 4K and then the 4-channel Planet Audio as well for this setup. Good look. Did a big 3 upgrade up front, all 0 gauge. Loomed everything. Zip tied everything off. Ran this power wire down up underneath the car through the frame, came up through the back. Zip tied and loomed accordingly. Put my flip up CD player off in there. And then that disconnect switch, so when the accessory's on, it disconnects from the back battery. That's what that was. Just a quick run through, fused everything, mounted, ran. Did I not get the picture? Oh, there you go, rear deck lid. That's 4 inches on the outside and a super tweed in the middle, and then one of those on each side of the rear deck. There's the double grounds. Everything put back into place. Got it looking factory stock. Let's check it out for a second.